All right, good evening. It's Monday night. Monday night. All right, I'm going to attempt to make a video um, partly addressing, and I will have to get in touch with the brother as well to get the details and give more specific information. But brother emailed me. He wants to get really big, man, and he's a working stiff. You know, he's got kids to take care of, wife, family support. And he's let himself go a little bit recent times, and he wants to turn that around, man. But he wants to get really big, and he just wants to know he's on the right track. And from what he wrote to me, he is on the right track so far. He's on the right track. He's much more securely and firmly mounted that track than most people, than the majority of people. All right. So what you really need to know about getting big is the same old same. It's unchanged. It's the same thing since the beginning. You know, same thing since the beginning. It comes down to a whole lot of basic principles. And look, you disagree with this, man. I'm not trying to insult any vegans. I gave veganism a try myself. I eat a lot of vegetables. I do a thermogenic form of dieting, which amounts to actually more of a recomposition, but I mean a real recomposition, not like how everybody talks about recomposition. I mean a really drastic recomposition. And I do that by consuming a lot of vegetables, a lot of fibrous vegetables. You know, in the beginning of my diet, there's going to be less fiber. And as time rolls onward, I will incrementally turn the fiber up, and that will keep the returns that I want from my investment coming. It'll keep me burning off the body fat, and at the same time still providing an overabundance of nutrition so that I can continue to gain. And I've talked about this before. Everybody talks about, is it possible to gain muscle and lose body fat at the same time? And yes, it is. And most of the time, the average Joes that say that yes, it is, you don't see it. You don't really see them doing it. But, and I'm not saying this is the only way on God's green earth you could possibly do that, but it's the way that I know, and it's the way that I know works 100% of the time for me. And it works for the largest majority of others. Now here's the reality. If you are natural, if your testosterone level is shit or mediocre, then you're going to get, that's going to have an influence on how much muscle you're going to get as you're getting leaner at the same time. You know? So in that instance, if you just can hang on to all the muscle you have and gain a few pounds, which I think almost anybody can do if they do this properly, I think almost anybody can do that. I've seen guys that were legitimately tested and were low and weren't doing anything about it yet because they were on the fence. You know, they were on the fence. They heard the pros and the cons, and they were on the fence. And they still progressively continued to get leaner, and they got more muscular, but not drastically more muscular. And again, everything is commensurate with, you know, if you're enhanced or what you're doing or how high your test level is, et cetera, et cetera. And it goes for natural guys, man. Every natural guy isn't on an even playing field with the next natural guy. Every natural guy doesn't have the same testosterone levels. And many males today have low testosterone. I've said it again many times. I will say it again. I have said it before many times. We have, here in the U.S., we have freshwater fish in our tributaries, which are hermaphroditic. Male fish are turning hermaphroditic. They have both sexes freaked out. Yeah. Both sexes now. Not the female fish, the male fish. We have male frogs in the U.S. that produce eggs which are fertile. Think about that for a minute. There's a declination in sperm count and testosterone levels across the board. Hormone levels are all jacked up and shredded, or spun around, and just it's a cluster, man. And it's because of endocrine disruptors, environmental endocrine disruptors. Look it up. They come in all forms. They're bombarding you, passing through your body 24/7. And no matter what your level is today, whatever your testosterone level is today, your level would have been basically damn near twice as much back when your father would have been a young man, or back when your grandfather was in his prime. You would have had twice as much at least. Think about that. Think about that. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, it's cheating. I've heard a conversation of some twink talking about how it's cheating. He believes it's cheating. If you're so concerned about what another man does, right? Like, do you want to examine the hardness of my erection and then consider if I'm enhanced with Cialis, or is that natty? And then is that cheating? Yeah, it's ridiculous now. In these current times we live in, it's absolutely ridiculous that a grown man, or perceived to be grown man, doesn't have other things to think about. That should be so far down the list for a grown man with responsibilities and grown-up considerations. That should be so far down the list he doesn't even have time to ever get there. It's very telling. So in this world today, I'm not walking around saying that if you've got low T and you won't correct it, that you're some kind of cuck. But men they're having their nuts chemically, hormonally, just chopped off. Just chopped off, man. And in many cases, there are so many other hormones at play that testosterone is not the only player. No matter what you want to think, it's not. It isn't. I know dudes that have low T that are also extremely muscular. Too muscular to where no one would believe they had low T. Most of the guys out there, unfortunately, wouldn't believe they were natural, but they are. They are. I have a couple friends like that. They've been lifting 30-some years, but they have incredible physiques. Brother Joe Dayberry comes to mind as one guy. But good genetics run his family anyway. If you remember Jason Dayberry, nationally competitive bodybuilder. Back when I competed, just an incredible physique, just big guy, good physique, really good physique. Super heavy, of course. So he has really good genetics in his family line anyway. But even with the low T, was confirmed, verified low T, he still can carry that much muscle. And when I have been off without any replacement therapy, I have to make sure and say this again, being on nothing, most of the time on YouTube I've been off more than I've been on. But do you see like a really huge dramatic difference in the videos? You see a difference, but is it really that dramatic? Considering there are times at my age where I've been off more recently. I was off a while back for like 8 months. And I was holding the muscle. It was much harder, a lot harder. But I was able to do it. But I felt like crap. I was run down. I was tired. I was listless. I didn't have energy. I didn't have drive. Any of these things. Didn't get good, restful sleep. And those are all effects of low T. So for some guys, man, they don't even work out. There are people today, there are men today that augment legally through their doctor their testosterone levels to reach a normal level, normalize their hormonal levels with testosterone, and they're not even interested in building a whole bunch of muscle. They're just interested in the other effects of it, that you'll think more clearly, that your memory improves, that you can sleep at night and get good, restorative rest. so that you can continue to do the things that you need to do if you're still working stiff. So let's look at that first. In my opinion, I think that it's extremely difficult based on experience, things I've seen. It's extremely difficult, but not impossible for a guy with low T to build a lot of muscle. Not impossible, but extremely difficult. You're doing it the hard way. Does that mean you can't do it? No. Does that mean it's probably one of the hardest things you can try to do? Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. But the one thing that you're going to have is nutrition, is food. Rob himself, been lifting with me about 2 years. George and I, lifting with all of us. Everybody knows him that's local, right? Trained with him. He's always been a strong guy. He's always been a pretty big guy. But he really just got so far his physique wasn't progressing the way he wanted. And we would run down the checklist. Are you getting enough hydration? Are you doing this? Are you eating that? Are you, yes. Are you sleeping? Yes. Knew the training was good. Well, when we started living here together, again today, he reiterated how amazing it is that he had no idea of the amount of food that's actually required to be stuffed down your throat every day to be able to put that size on, to really put real size on. If you really are trying to get, you want that real size, you're going to have to shove that food down your throat. And is that a healthy thing? No, I'm sure it's not. Gastrointestinal disorders and problems run rampant today in men. I'm, knock on wood, doing pretty good right now. I don't have that side of problem. That's one problem I don't have. So, yeah, we eat a lot. So you're thinking, you know what a lot is. No, we eat more than that. More than that. Again, food is the most anabolic substance that you can put into your body. Because no matter what you put into your body, if you don't put food into your body, you cannot build muscle, because muscle is made out of food. And the most ideal, are shakes okay, supplements okay? Yes. But the most ideal way, especially if you're trying to do a recon, is it comes from all solid, whole foods. And it's expensive. I know I've said this before, and I've had people disagree. Oh, it doesn't cost that much to eat right. Well, it depends on what you consider to be right. Right, in my opinion, is that which serves the purpose of engendering or supporting nutritionally what you need to fill in that space to achieve your goals. So if your goals are to get really big, muscle big, then yeah, it's expensive. It's expensive. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It is expensive. I eat beef tenderloin, filet mignon, like 2 times a week. I eat like quarter-pound burgers on the grill, like 2 times a week. I eat fish. Always have as much fish as possible, varied amounts. Last night I had 2 chunks of tenderloin, beef tenderloin, and 1 tuna steak. Nice big fat thick tuna steak cooked on the grill. We each did. So there's lots and lots of food, and of course chicken's a staple. Typically for breakfast we each have 6 eggs every single day. And then the pancakes that Burl makes, they're protein pancakes. They have extra protein in them, they have whey in them, and then he puts an additional egg in addition to the 6 eggs in each pancake. So that's breakfast. I have that big huge meal for breakfast, and then we'll have fairly decent average size feedings throughout the day, and in the evening we'll have another large meal, but it'll be an early dinner, and then we may eat a little bit of something before bed, but that's optional. Depends on that. You're counting your numbers, your macros. Did you hit your numbers? Are you there? Are you good enough? So it's always come down to food. It's always been about food. Everybody and their brother and their sister has told people that, has always said that, food, 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 and yet, in this day and age, with all the information available on the internet, there are still people that swear, oh, it's not the food. They always tell you that. It's not the food. You know what it is? It's the gear. It's not the food. You know, well, then, you know, then how do you explain that almost everybody in the gym is on? Most all the dudes are on. And of those that are on, most of them that are on a hell of a lot more than me. Yeah, but they're not eating. This is a baller's game. It's a baller's game. You're going to spend bucks on that food. You're going to spend money on that food. So you better hope that if you have a partner, that they're down with your motivation and they're in agreement with it and it's cool and they support it, because you know they may look at you funny spending all that money on all that food. But those are real gains, and real gains, they just don't drop and blow away. You know, I stopped lifting even for 7 months, and there's a video record of that when I tore the shoulder slap tear. You notice they're starting to look more alike. It's coming back. I'm pushing it hard. You know, there's a chunk of it missing. It's coming back muscularly. But it's all about that food. You know, 7 months when I was injured, I didn't train and I really didn't eat like, you know, with a purpose like this. The only purpose was to keep my weight up, because I would rather keep my weight in the same ballpark, even if my body fat percentage goes up and you know, I'm less muscular, because when I return to training and eating properly, it's easier for me to recomp. If my body has all that strain on that skeleton and it's used to carrying that weight around, that mass around that, it doesn't know if it's fat or if it's muscle, it just knows weight. Now you can argue with that all day long. I'm just telling you how it is. I'm not giving you my opinion, I'm telling you the truth. That's why 300-pound guy, it's unhealthy, you know, once you get older. If it's fat or if it's muscle, it's just as unhealthy. And maybe if it's muscle, it's even more unhealthy than if it was fat. Because muscle is denser, and muscle has a hugely extrapolated capillary system developed to feed it. You know? So that's about it, man. You know, I've talked about this many, many, many times. Nothing's changed, except that right now I'm eating with purpose. It just gives me something to do. Pushing the leg, trying to get it back in shape, in order, so I can get back to work next month. And I am trying to realize that this is home for me now. You know, trying to develop a feel for that. Not having much luck between you and me, but I'm gonna drink some of this coffee, see if I can't get some more relevant videos up tonight, because there are other shit that I'm behind on talking about. You guys take care and have a wonderful evening.